interwebs. I'm back with another review of Star Trek Lower Decks. Season 1, Episode 9, Crisis Point. So please, stay tuned. OMG, guys, this was the most funniest episode I ever even seen. But let's get into the spoiler-free reviews and then the bread and butter of the episode. This episode was very funny, like all the Star Trek films into one little thing, where it is so funny, where you can relate to everything that's going on. And oh my god, I don't know what to say about it. It's just like got my attention because obviously that it was like a Star Trek Lower Deck style movie where it had everything, even like when the saucer of the Enterprise and the Star Trek timeline film, forget the name of the film, Star Trek Beyond, brain fart, crashes on a planet. It had that feel of like so much action-packed film that you can relate to, basically. Like, everybody in there was like doing their own little thing, and you see like the characters interacting, you see their bad side, basically. And what I thought about this episode is that it made me think about the Kelvin Timeline movie and all the Star Trek movies up there to a point where I wanted to go watch them again. And hell, I did. You know, like, it reminded me of all of them, you know, like how, you know, how the villain and Beyond was, like, he was killing people and shit. That was, like, mostly Star Trek Beyond. Ew! And you think, like, what the heck is going on here with all this? And I'll, like, come on now, like, it's really hilarious. In a way, like, it's like Star Trek Beyond, like right there in your face, like, and I'm thinking, damn, they did a good job on this episode, because obviously we see, oh, I just can't think, because it's like so much in my head, like really good type Star Trek, where you see everything come together and see what the bad side of these characters, of this character, and then you see like all this stuff. It's like mostly Star Trek Beyond, where you're seeing this shit, and then you see like the Star Trek motion picture, you see all kinds of things in there. They're getting like all the Star Trek movies, bits and pieces, and adding it to this episode, which was hilarious. And I kind of like how it came together, because you get to see how it is, where you see everything come together. My gosh, I can't even say more about this episode. Well, let's get into the bread and butter. I might forget things, don't quote me on that, but if you haven't seen the episode, pause it right here and go see it and come back. Let's get into it. So we get off where Brad is there in the holodeck, and he's trying to do the interview for the thing. You know, an interview, right? I forget what the interview was for, I forget now. Let me just get onto it. He was going to do an interview for, like, the captain's interim report or something like that. I just watched the episode and I can't even remember half the shit, but yeah. The captain's report, yes. I think it was a report. But he was getting ready for the interview, talking to the crew. Like, he made the crew so he can ask them questions, right? And Rutherford comes in, he's like, what is all this? And he had it programmed so well where all the crew is there, like every logs, everything. Boimler was like that, right? It did that program. But before that, no, after that, basically, I think, or before that, Mariner was being an asshole and stuff like that. So she had to go see the counselor, and she was like, the counselor relates to it as food and shit like that, like food comments and shit like that. And it was a bird and was talking to her and was pissing her off. And she's like, you don't want to stop quoting food, mother. Like being so bad. And I was like, damn, like they have a bird. A bird with glasses. Can you believe that? A bird with glasses as the counselor talking, telling Mariner to go there because Marina's like, I know I gotta go to the brag. But no, she had to go to counseling to deal with her shit. So all of a sudden, Mariner, Brad and Tindy and Rutherford were on the holodeck, and Brad had the program out, like I said. And it's like, he wants to impress himself and do this interview to be somebody, and yet he doesn't know what's going on himself in his mind, because Mariner has a mind tract of her own to make her own Star Trek movie and be the villain. She has to have that mindset because she's pissed. So she goes in there and types in the holodeck and takes this program to the next level. And to cast herself as an evil, vindictive villain. And the movie was like Star Trek Beyond type style. But then we see her as the villain, and they're telling that the Cerritos was upgraded and everybody's in love with her. And Bourne was like, I could just kiss the ship. And then, he calls the ship a beautiful woman. And she's like, damn right you are. And Bourne was like, I call the ship a beautiful woman. He's taking notes. And he's not playing along with the holodeck program. He's taking notes during the whole program so he can get this interview and get the spot for the interim report or whatever. And he's doing all this, talking to the crew. Meanwhile, Mariner is being really badass, a villain, threatening the captain, saying nasty shit. Tindy's like, not all Orions are pirates, and all that, and she gets pissed in the middle of it and leaves, saying, I don't like this at all. Meanwhile, Rutherford goes to engineering and talks to the engineer like sweet talks him, telling him he's the best engineer, this, and that. And it was like, really? Rutherford thought that the engineer was really good. And all of this and that. Well, meanwhile, Mariner was being a jackass the whole time. And Brad's like, what were you doing here? And it was like a badass movie film. I'm sorry I'm not getting all of it. I'm just like getting bits and pieces. So then Mariner is being a badass, threatening people, saying, oh, okay, let's go threaten this person, killing people. And she has evil, vindictive tendencies. And I don't know what's the hell wrong with her, but she acts like she's like a vindictive, evil witch. And I'm just saying this because it is something very, very stupid and crazy. So it goes on where the captain and everybody leave. Like, they beam off the ship because Cerritos is doomed to a planet in this holodeck thing she created herself. And the Cerritos is like salsa sections there. And this got me to the movie where the Enterprise D crashes on a planet too. Yup. So obviously she's fighting the captain, and the captain is fighting with her. And she's talking about her past being nasty towards Carol Freeman. And then all of a sudden, here comes her holodeck self, comes in there threatening her, and they're talking back and forth with each other, beating the fuck out of each other. Which, I'm sorry for the F word. But she's beating the hell out of her other self, you know. The holodeck version of her beating her up. And she's like, you don't do that to my mom, this and this and this and this and this and this and that. And obviously, you know, they're on a planet, and it so happens that this planet, you know, the whole crew's there. And she's like, you know, the self-destruct is on. And she's like, what? Yup, she put the self-destruct on in there, and it blew up. And luckily, it didn't stop the holodeck program. Which it should have, but it didn't. So, obviously, you know, they're there, and Brad comes up, finding out that Carol's allergic to something, but he doesn't know what, because the holodeck version of Ransom dies, gets killed. And, you know, Boimler comes up with these chocolate chip cookies, and this one crewman comes up and beats the fuck out of him and says, she's allergic to chocolate, and throws him off the cliff, and that's the end of the holodeck program. So, back onto the bread and butter, you know, Carol goes to the bird, you know, Birdman, I don't even know his name, the bird with the glasses, talking about shit, and then she's like, stop quoting food, damn it, because he says that you're like a pineapple. I kid you not, if Deanna Troy was there listening in on this counseling session with the bird, she would have slapped him silly and told him, that's not how you talk to people. Like, you don't do that shit. She would have taught him the correct way to do things. Even Skynet would have taught him the correct way to do things, but I'm surprised that bird became a counselor, a therapist. So, then after that, they go to the interview, and Brad's like, you don't know. And he's freaking out because he finds something out that I think everybody knows. Everybody knows that Mariner is Carol Freeman's daughter. And all of a sudden, you know that he's freaking out, and he tips over the chair and he runs out without doing the interview. Like, really? You wanted this interview, but you leave. Like, OMG, like, it was like a Star Trek Lower Deck style movie. Because in the beginning, we see the credits, we see this and that. Boimler wants to impress himself with the captain, which, you know what I'm saying, right? Wants to impress the captain. And I think he's one of those Star Trek nerds that wants to be the best he could be and impress his captain and show his captain, hey, I could do this and that. You know, it's like, you get all these characters doing their own thing, and it's like a style of movie that you will love. But that's my opinion on it. So it was like really good. Like all these came together, and then we see all the characters interacting. Like, I liked it. It was damn good. Well, guys, sorry my review was off. Sometimes I forget shit. But yeah. So stay tuned for next week for the season finale of Star Trek Lower Decks review. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, my interwebs. Please subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell so you will not miss a new video.